Treason. That is the word now echoing through the halls of Washington, D.C. after a classified leak tried to sabotage President Trump's greatest military victory, Operation Midnight Hammer, and the media ran cover for our enemies. But here's what they did not expect. President Trump just ordered a massive crackdown, and Behar may have accidentally exposed the whole game. While our military was dismantling Iran's nuclear capabilities and putting China on notice, Behar was melting down on national TV with one of the most bizarre pro-China distractions we've ever seen. And now the cover is unraveling. Who leaked the intel? Who helped China bypass sanctions by buying oil from Iran under the radar? And why is the legacy media pushing one debunked report while ignoring the truth confirmed by the CIA, the IDF, and Tulsi Gabbard herself? Well, this isn't just about a media meltdown. This is about national security. This is about a political sabotage at the highest level. And this is about a president, Donald J. Trump, saying enough. The gloves are off, the crackdown has begun, and somebody's going to prison. Because, and we need to talk about the leak, the shocking ties between China and Iran, the Behar meltdown that the media wants you to forget, and how Trump just flipped the script again. So guys, just days after President Donald J. Trump authorized Operation Midnight Hammer, a joint U.S.-Israeli precision strike that devastated Iran's illegal nuclear program, a classified Pentagon report was mysteriously leaked to the media. But this wasn't just a rogue report. It was labeled low confidence, incomplete, and unverified. Yet, for whatever reason, outlets like CNN, The Washington Post, The New York Times, these guys decided to plaster the sucker across front pages, spinning the narrative that President Trump's most successful foreign policy strike had failed. They tried to make it sound like Iran's nuclear program was still intact, that it was no big deal, that the United States had just rattled a few cages. But here's the truth, guys. Backed by real intel, not anonymous whispers, the CIA released a formal statement confirming that Iran's program was severely damaged by the strikes. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard reported that key nuclear facilities were destroyed beyond quick repair, and the Israeli Defense Forces, who had air superiority and boots on the ground intel, stated very clearly, "We've set the program back by years." And even the UN nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, which isn't exactly known for helping Trump out, confirmed extensive destruction at multiple sites. So why did this leak even come out? Like, why was it echoed so quickly? And why now? By the way, if you guys appreciate the daily news updates, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. What I can tell you is this: someone wanted to sabotage the truth. Someone wanted to make Trump look weak when he had just flexed his historic strength. And someone wanted to protect Iran. Now, that's not a policy disagreement. It's not a debate. That is treason. And President Trump knew it instantly. He authorized an internal investigation within hours, and his deputy attorney general made it crystal clear to the nation. You better believe that we're going to find out who did this. And when we do, they'll be charged to the fullest extent of the law. Now, let's talk about what this means. This wasn't a leak about troop movements or border updates. This was an internal U.S. intelligence document leaked during active foreign operations with the intent to undermine the president's military victory. And if that leak came from inside Congress, as many now think that it is, it opens the door to criminal charges, plural, that would definitely go beyond classified mishandling. We're talking international damage to national security, obstruction of presidential authority, and yes, potentially treason. But here's the part that should send chills down your spine. The media didn't question it. They didn't even verify it. They didn't even ask where it came from. They just ran it because it fit their narrative. A narrative that Trump can't win, a narrative that that America can't lead, that our enemies should be given the benefit of the doubt over our own president. That wasn't journalism. That was a coordinated echo chamber built to weaken public trust in the commander-in-chief during an active foreign confrontation. Let that sink in, guys. And just when the American people were finally waking up to the truth, just when the facts they were just starting to spread, that Trump's strike worked, that the intelligence was solid, that the media got it wrong, all of a sudden the headlines changed. Suddenly, every blue check on Twitter, every mainstream outlet, every click farm news site was talking about Joy Behar. Why? Because Joy Behar, she went viral with a bizarre, unprovoked attack on Trump, claiming he hates strong women and can't handle being challenged. The timing? Oh, it's absolutely perfect. The distraction? Complete. So I have one question for you guys. Was Joy Behar's meltdown a coincidence, or was it cover fire? Because while she was ranting on The View, China was buying more oil from Iran, legacy media was laundering the leak, and Americans were being lied to again. Now, one viewer, 123 Forever Blessed Done, said, "They saved me thousands. And I even got free premium Instacart for food shopping. It took no time. Thank you, Ron. I'm telling all my friends to call." Now, that's one comment I just got on a previous video. Then there's Buck, a senior on Social Security. He said, "I'm saving $166 a month. When that's your only income, $166 is a sweet raise." How many more people need to prove that this works for you to give it a shot? Guys, Chapter is absolutely awesome. And these folks that I've just shared the comments from, they call Chapter. And it is absolutely amazing. $166 a month saved? Really? Free premium Instacart for food shopping? We can't make this up. Give our friends at Chapter a call and see how much money they can save you on your Medicare, and see what other benefits that they can hook you up with or make you aware of that you didn't know existed. So I'll leave the number down below, 909-563-8279, or hit them up on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. And if it helped them, it could help you. So now let's talk about Joy Behar, shall we? Because while President Trump was launching a counterstrike against the Iranian nuclear regime, while his Justice Department was tracking down a traitor inside the system, while the Pentagon was assessing what some are calling the most successful military op of the decade, Joy Behar was ranting about Trump's hair. On The View, Joy Behar unleashed one of the most unhinged rants that we've seen all year. Her claim that Donald Trump hates strong women and only surrounds himself with obedient women who compliment him. She even dragged up some old jokes about his hair from decades ago, as if she were part of some epic gender battle. Folks, this wasn't just petty. This was strategic, because at the exact moment, think about this, at the exact moment within hours of the Iran leak story breaking, this bizarre tirade conveniently hijacked every major trending feed online. Twitter flooded with Trump hates women memes, mainstream headlines, Behar blasts Trump again, CNN running B-roll for the View. I mean, just crazy. They're just running B-roll of The View on CNN. Guys, all the while, the real scandal, the national security leak, the China-Iran connection, the DOJ's treason probe, was buried under a pile of celebrity nonsense, noise, and social justice outrage. Is this a coincidence, or was it cover? Now, let's be clear. Joy Behar wasn't just wrong. She was exposed. Because if Donald Trump hates strong women, then how do you explain this? Tulsi Gabbard, a former Democrat, now director of national intelligence, handpicked by Trump to oversee America's top secret intel operation? How about Caroline Leavitt, Trump's bold and unshakable White House press secretary, who's taken on the legacy media every single day since January? Or how about Melania Trump, a multilingual first lady, best-selling author, public advocate who routinely challenges her husband behind closed doors and still shares a strong marriage by all accounts? Oh, and let's not forget about Kayleigh McEnany, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Kristi Noem, Pam Bondi, all prominent, outspoken conservative women who are elevated under Trump's leadership. So, no, Joy, this is not about misogyny. It's all about you. You made it about yourself. You became the sideshow, and you became the shield the media used to deflect from an unfolding act of betrayal against this country. So think about how dangerous that is, right? While Americans are asking who leaked intel to weaken our president, the media responded by shoving a camera in Joy Behar's face and asking, how did Trump's hair jokes hurt your feelings? The heck is that, right? So while the DOJ was launching a criminal investigation into classified sabotage, the press was pushing out viral sound bites about Trump supposedly being afraid of strong women. Here's the truth, guys. They don't want to talk about China. They don't want to talk about Iran, and they don't want to talk about treason. So they give you a clown show instead, and they, figured you just look the other way. So let me ask you something. While the press was busy obsessing over Joy Behar's recycled hair jokes, while legacy news outlets were regurgitating a deliberate leaked, low-confidence assessment about Iran, while the entire Beltway media complex was twisting itself into knots to avoid crediting President Trump, what was China doing? Well, I'll tell you what they were doing. They were buying up Iran's oil by the millions of barrels. Yeah, you see, while Trump was taking out the Iranian nuclear program with surgical precision, mind you, China was quietly paddling and patting Iran's pockets, bypassing sanctions, funding their military ambitions, and fortifying their position as America's chief global adversary. Over 90% of Iran's oil exports now go directly to China. That money doesn't go to schools, it doesn't go to roads, it goes to nuclear enrichment, weapons developments, terror financing, the very program Trump just destroyed. And let's not forget how we got here. Under the Biden administration, for 4 years, China was never held accountable for breaking oil sanctions. Iran faced no consequences for covert enrichment operations, and the global market was left wide open for enemies to just exploit, expand, and prepare for war. The result? Iran grew bolder, China grew richer, and America grew weaker. And the media, they just look the other way. But now, everything has changed. Trump is back, and he's already rewritten the rules of the game. So here's what the legacy press won't tell you, but I will. Trump didn't stop China from buying oil. He outmaneuvered them. He permitted limited, regulated purchases to undercut Beijing's dominance and put the pricing power back in U.S. hands. While Biden was begging OPEC for mercy, Trump ramped up domestic drilling, increased production, and used U.S. oil as a strategic weapon. And while China was trying to use their oil relationship with Iran as leverage, Trump flipped the script, flooding the global market and devaluing their grip overnight. So that's not weakness. That's economic warfare executed with precision. It's a kind of asymmetrical energy diplomacy that you only get to see from a leader who understands both the boardroom and the battlefield. But I'm not done, okay? Because energy is just one front in China's war on America. So let's talk about what might be even more dangerous than oil, okay? Rare earth minerals. Now, China controls over 60% of the world's rare earth processing capacity. We know that. And we're not just talking about iPhones and electric cars. Guys, we're talking about F-35 fighter jets, missile guidance systems, special space and satellite defense, cyber infrastructure. Even the magnets inside U.S. Navy sonar systems rely on rare earth components. So what did China just do? Well, they started cutting off exports, restricting access, weaponizing their monopoly. This isn't trade. This is economic blackmail in the middle of a global standoff. Now, under Biden, that would have been met with a strongly worded tweet or maybe even nothing at all. But under Trump, a presidential executive order was signed to reshore critical mineral production inside the United States. Trump went ahead and fast-tracked permits, removing environmental red tape, and authorizing new mining operations in Texas, Wyoming, and Alaska. So basically, Trump just put a big old middle finger up to China and their whole deciding to cut us off of rare earth minerals. Oh, and perhaps most importantly, Trump authorized the DOJ and State Department to launch sweeping investigations into Chinese nationals embedded in U.S. research labs, government-backed universities, and think tanks. Because the truth is, it was never just about minerals. It's about espionage. It's about influence. It's about the quiet infiltration of our most sensitive scientific institutions. China isn't just trying to outpace us. They're trying to undermine us from within, and Trump knows that. This is why the crackdown isn't just about energy. It's about sovereignty, about reclaiming our ability to produce, defend, and lead without relying on hostile regimes. Guys, that is what this moment is really about. And it makes the media cover-up even more sinister because as Trump moved to weaken China, as the DOJ investigated lab infiltration, as supply chains were reshored and espionage suspects identified, Joy Behar is crying about sexism. And the media was amplifying a fake leak. In China, they're laughing all the way to the bank. And so now that we've really exposed the sabotage, the distraction, and the foreign beneficiaries, I want to talk about what President Trump is doing about it. Because if you thought that the administration was just going to let this treasonous leak slide, well, I don't think you've been paying very close attention. Let's start with the legacy media. So within hours of the Operation Midnight Hammer leak, every mainstream outlet from MSNBC to the New York Times pounced on the same talking point. Trump's strike was exaggerated. Iran's program is still fine. Anonymous intel sources say damage was minimal. There was no sourcing, no counterbalance, no accountability. They ignored confirmation from the CIA. They ignored statements from the Israeli Defense Forces. They ignored direct reports from the IAEA. Why'd they do that? Because those facts didn't fit their narrative. Because those outlets would rather protect a leaker than credit Trump for taking down Iran's nuclear ambitions. Because they've been complicit in every major deception since 2020. The Afghanistan intelligence disaster, the Chinese spy balloon delay, the disinformation campaign surrounding Hunter Biden's laptop. Guys, they lied by omission. They spun for power. And now they've undermined national security during an active strike. And President Trump's response? Full classification review, targeted investigation into media leaks, and DOJ crackdown on the political media pipeline. Now think about it. By them leaking this information out, they're putting lives at risk. Okay? Our men and women in the forces. But it doesn't stop there. President Trump's Justice Department has now formed a special task force to investigate the leak at its source. So here's what they're looking into. Members of Congress who had access to the low confidence report prior to publication, staffers and aides who communicated with media figures within hours of the strike, outside think tanks and foreign connected journalists who may have received intel via unofficial channels, known disinfo operatives embedded in the Beltway who have pulled similar stunts before. Now, let me be clear, guys. This isn't politics. This isn't revenge. This is restoration, restoring trust, restoring control, restoring the belief that when a U.S. president orders a mission to protect this country, it won't be sabotaged by unelected cowards in the shadows. President Trump has also ordered a reassessment of classified access, even inside the halls of Congress, because if the leak came from Capitol Hill and that's where all the arrows are pointing, well, somebody's clearance is about to get yanked and revoked permanently. There's now serious talk inside the White House about restricting briefings to only top-ranking committee chairs, stripping Intel committee members of access if they've previously been linked to leaks, holding secret congressional aides personally accountable for classified information breaches. So Trump is clearly trying to tighten things up. Let that sink in for a minute. The swamp has never faced this kind of heat before. This isn't just the threat of accountability. This is the beginning of a purge. And when the dust settles, there will be some resignations. There will be some arrests. And yes, there will be charges of treason. But here's the truth. When you leak national security secrets during an active mission, when you hand Iran a lifeline, when you sabotage your own country to make a political point, that's not journalism. That's not free speech. That's betrayal. And Trump's administration is finally treating those actions that way. But here's one more piece that we really didn't talk about yet, okay? Because through all of this, through the chaos, the sabotage, the distractions, there are real American heroes on the line. Men and women who risked everything during the Iran retaliation. Young soldiers defending our airbase in Qatar. Veterans watching this unfold, wondering if their country still stands for something. So let's step back for a second. Because while Washington, D.C. squabbled, while leaders, played political games with classified intelligence, while Joy Behar was melting down on national TV, real Americans were on the front lines. Just hours after President Trump's historic strike against Iran's nuclear infrastructure, Iran retaliated. 44 incoming threats, multiple missile launches, direct attacks aimed at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, home to over 10,000 U.S. troops. Do you know who stopped that attack? A 28-year-old captain a 21-year-old private barely out of training, a team of 5 inside of a tactical command vehicle coordinating what is now being called the largest Patriot missile engagement in U.S. military history. Think about that, guys. Kids not even old enough to rent a car were defending American lives under fire, while Washington insiders were leaking intel and the media was attacking the commander-in-chief. These troops didn't flinch. They didn't hesitate. They didn't care about Twitter or cable news or Joy Behar's stupid opinion. They stood, they fought, and they won. And that's who Trump's fighting for. Not for elites, not for donors, not legacy media clowns, real Americans. The ones who wear the uniform, the ones who wake up at 4 a.m. to get the job done, the ones who love this country and expect their leaders to love it too. That's why Trump calls this a moment of clarity, not just about foreign policy, but about who's really on America's side. So let's just go ahead and say it plainly. The administration, this administration in particular, is not perfect, but it is patriotic. It's relentless, and it's 100% committed to protecting this country from enemies foreign and domestic. This is why President Trump didn't hesitate to call this leak what it is, an attack on the American people. That's why he's backing his DOJ to pursue treason charges. This is why he's stripping access, cleaning house, and showing the world that you don't cross this flag and walk away untouched. And to those in the media still trying to spin this thing, to the politicians trying to cover their tracks, to the cowards who thought the swamp would protect them, you picked the wrong president. This ain't 2020. This isn't the old GOP, and this isn't a time for weak leadership. This is America first, again. And if you betray this country under President Trump, you better believe there will be consequences. So if you believe in the truth and this nation's comeback, hit the like button, share this video with someone you know, with everyone you know, and stay tuned because this story is far from over. The swamp has been warned, and I think the reckoning has just begun. We'll see you guys next time. Hey, by the way, guys, if you're one of the real ones who really enjoy what we do here on the channel, you've got to check out the Inner Circle. This is where our true supporters get exclusive access to content that I just can't share here, completely commercial free. It's also the best way to keep this channel going strong. So if you want to be a part of something special, join us over there. Links in the description or in the pinned comment down below.